Welcome, everybody. I'm Lane Levanway, and you know what time it is. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about Constantine, Season 1, Episode 5, Danse Vaudou. Alright guys, if you're new to my channel, every single week after each episode of Constantine, we're going to be doing one of these top 5 moments. Now, these are my top 5 moments, just my personal moments. And they don't rank in any specific order. I just do them generally in chronological order as I enjoyed them throughout the episode. Now, this episode is coming out a little bit later than usual, but I've got a good excuse for that. Now, if you look at the way I look right now, I've got the white shirt. I've suddenly got blonde hair, if you've noticed, which in all my other videos I don't. And it's mildly styled like a familiar character. And that character is Constantine. I'm not wearing the tie, but I do have my black pants on right now. Here in my town this weekend, we had Wizard World Comic-Con showed up, and so I went as Constantine. So I dyed my hair, got the haircut, tried to style it. I've got the jacket, the tie, and the shirt and the pants, and it was quite successful. I was the only Constantine at the Comic-Con, as far as I could tell, and I was quite popular for at least one of the days where I was getting quite a few pictures taken of me. Now, I did get mistaken for Castiel a couple times, but that's fine because I read that Castiel's outfit was based off of Constantine's outfit. So that works out for me just fine. And so this episode came out a little late because I was staying out late and I was up all day and I was busy and just was tired at the end of the day and didn't want to do it. But that's enough of that for now. Let's get on to my top 5. Number 1. So in this episode, we get to go to New Orleans, and Papa Midnight is back. Now, Papa Midnight isn't actually my number 1, though I was super thrilled to see him because I enjoyed him in it, 2 episodes ago when he showed up to try to get the demon record or whatever, and so it was super exciting to see Papa Midnight come back. But there's a moment when Zed and Constantine are checking into their hotel room in New Orleans, and they're getting separate rooms, and John's sort of flirting with the lady behind the counter, and Zed's like, oh, we're getting separate rooms, and John is like, yeah, love, I think we need to keep this professional. And she goes, oh, you afraid you won't respect me? And he says, I respect everyone I sleep with. I just like to know something about them first. And you just get this nice, witty, little flirtatious banter between the two. And then she has a moment where the lady offers them to have champagne in each of their rooms. And she says, no, thanks, I don't drink champagne. And she looks at John, and now you know something about me. And so it was just this great, very flirtatious moment between the two that I really liked. Number 2. So in this episode, we're dealing with ghosts and spirits that are coming back from the dead, and so this provides some interestingly creepy moments. And there's a spirit named Philip, who is a hitchhiker who gets picked up on the road, and then you drive with him, and then he basically makes you crash at the site where he was killed, and thus killing you. But the moment when you first see him, he gets picked up, and he gets picked up by a creeper of a man who's like rubbing his leg, I'll help keep you warm, kid, kind of a thing. Very creepy, in a realistic way, because it's just some pervert creeper on the road. And so he's talking to Philip, and then suddenly, poof, Philip's gone, just like that. And the guy's like, what? And then boom, in the middle of the road, there's Philip looking all bloody and just standing there ghostly. And the guy swerves off the road, smacks into a tree. But it was just a great, quick moment, very creepy, that disappear, and then the quick reappear, which is a little bit of a jump scare, but he still looked creepy, and then the swerve off the road. So it was a nice moment with the ghost. And to sort of play off that, you have another ghost going around killing people with scissors. She used to be a model, but she has this surgical mask. And she's creepy too. And she pulls off the mask, and she's got these giant slashes across her face. Number 3! Alright, so Chaz is back in this episode. We missed him last episode because he was apparently off doing something. But he's back with the gang. It's Zed, Constantine, and Chaz. They're together, and when they're hunting down the spirits, we've got Zed and Chaz have been sent off to try to sort of deal with these spirits to protect people who the spirits are killing, while John goes and tries to figure out how to get rid of them. So Chaz has this cool bracelet that sort of lets you know there's spirits nearby. And there's a moment where he first sees the spirit, and he protects the guy she's about to kill. He's like, get out of here. Runs up, and she's like, do you think I'm pretty? And he's like, yes, I think you're pretty. And she's like, do you? And she rips off her mask. She's like, do you think I'm pretty now? And he's like, yes. And she goes, well, then you can be pretty like me. And then just whoops him. And he sort of tries to fight back, but she's stabbing him and slicing him, and down he goes, and he's dead. Now, we're aware from previous comments and things that have happened in other episodes that he's very hard to kill. Next time we flash back to Chaz, there's like an ambulance there and EMTs, and they're like, there's no pulse. What are we going to do? They're cutting his shirt open, and then suddenly Chaz wakes up. And they're, of course, freaked out. And Chaz is like, you see his wounds start to heal. He's like, no, I think I just hit my head. I'm fine. You wouldn't happen to have a spare shirt in the ambulance, would you? And, you can just see the EMTs are freaking out. But you actually get to see the wound just regenerate and heal right up. And that was a great moment. And even though we don't understand yet why he's like that, we at least get to see now for sure that he is actually fully dying and sort of just coming back to life like Highlander style. Number 4! Okay, so at one point, once Constantine realizes that Papa Midnight is in town and he's been helping these women who've had these people die in their lives, and it's these spirits are the ones that are coming back. So he has to confront Papa Midnight, and Papa Midnight knocks him out and puts him in the trunk of a car, but then does want to find out if what Constantine is saying is true, that these spirits are coming back to life, because Papa Midnight just meant for the spirits to be able to talk through him to their loved ones and not come back. So he goes to a house to confirm if Constantine's right or not, and Constantine's locked in the trunk, and Constantine wakes up while Papa Midnight goes inside, and you see him, he's sort of picking the handcuffs. Well, Papa Midnight confirms that Constantine is correct, gets back in the trunk, and he's like, all right, get him out of the trunk because I need to talk to him. And Constantine turns around from the driver's seat. He's like, oh, I'm already here, mate. And so that was just a fantastic moment. For me, it was funny, lighthearted, and it's just great to see Constantine that he could have been waiting outside the car for him. He could have gone into the house to meet him. But no, he decides to be all cheeky and to sit in the driver's seat and pretend to be the driver, waiting for Papa Midnight to come back. There's certainly an interesting relationship between the two of them. They're clearly not friends, mostly enemies, but not like arch enemies. There's things between them. They work together, obviously. At some point in the past, they've worked together, and they know each other's style. And then, further in this episode, they actually have to work together again. Number 5! Okay, so I just mentioned how Papa Midnight and Constantine actually have to work together in this episode, and I loved this moment. It's a big spell where the two of them are going to have to combine their magic. Papa Midnight has to take his voodoo, and Constantine takes his mishmash of learned magics of all types, and they're going to try to banish the spirits. They've got the bodies of the dead, and they're going to try to banish them completely. And so you just get this nice epic moment of the two of them together, chanting their lines, whatever it is that they use to spell, their voodoo and exorcism type stuff, and they're casting it together, and they're lighting the bodies on fire, and it's just this cool like circle around them and symbols, and it's just, and of course the whole scene is in Papa Midnight's house or his place of work, and so that is inherently looking creepy anyway, and it's just this great moment between the two of them. And then ultimately it ends up kind of funny because nothing actually works, and they get kind of a fight, and they're spatting at each other and very mad. And then Constantine figures out what they need, and you get another quick moment of them start to activate the spell again before it full on just activates and the bodies catch fire. That moment just sort of finished it off. For me, the actual moment for the top 5 is when the two of them are working together, chanting their spells and circling the bodies. I just thought that was a very cool moment on screen together. Number 6! I know, it's only top 5. What the heck is with number 6? Because I need a bonus one in this episode. Because there's a great moment that I didn't mention because I liked all these moments, but there was one that's fantastic with Chaz. In the end, when he's confronting the spirit that he's been chasing and protecting, and she's the one who slashes people up. And we don't know how long, all day he's been chasing her. And she's about to attack a woman, and he gets the woman out, and he runs over to her, and she's like, do you find me pretty? And he's like, do you find me pretty? She's like, do you find me pretty? He's like, do you think it's going to rain today? Do you find me pretty? And he's like, can you believe it's taken me this long to ask you questions? And she just was like frozen in place, not knowing how to respond to being asked questions herself. And it was just a great moment. I loved it. It was very humorous. And it was nice to see Chaz get that moment where earlier we'd seen him just get his butt kicked. And so I liked it. And so that is your bonus moment. Alright guys, so that's it for this week. Now, like I said before, if you're new to the channel, make sure you tune in every week to watch one of these top 5 Constantine moments. I also do some other things. I've got some movie reviews. We've got some of my son doing a 9-year-old reviews movies. And I try to do some quick movie news every week if I can get to it, just to keep you guys updated of everything that's happening out there in the movie world, or at least those things that I think are particularly interesting. So if you had a chance to speak to a deceased relative, or if you felt guilty about someone who had been deceased and you had some sort of guilt about their death, and you had the chance to be able to talk to them, but in doing so it could mean that they could come back and kill people, would you still do it? Leave a comment down below. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'd love it if you could hit that like button. It helps me out. And make sure you hit subscribe so you can see one of these episodes every week. You can be aware and alerted to every time one of these Constantine episodes come out, and we can have a discussion. So if you don't agree with my top 5 moments, tell me why down below. I'd love to have that discussion with you guys. So thanks for watching, and until next time, watch more TV.